And a beautiful Sunday evening, everyone. Christopher McDonald with a very special Breaking McFiles on this Sunday night. We're very honored to have a new guest with us and someone we've never spoke with until tonight, but we're very honored to have Patrick Byrne. He is retired and the founder, used to be the founder, he's still the founder of Overstock, but he's with us tonight. Patrick, it's a pleasure to have you, friend, and always a great time when we have new guests. I'll tell you what I tell everybody else. You're a guest for about a minute, and after that, you're McFiles family. So welcome to the McFiles family tonight. Good to have you on this Sunday night.
It's my honor, Mr. McDonald. Thank you very much.
Good. It's Chris. That Mr. makes me feel so old, and we're from the South down here. Mr. gets us nervous, so it's just Chris, but we thank you so much, Patrick. Patrick, I'm going to actually release you right now, and I'm going to let you talk about why you came on tonight because you've got some things you want to share with us about this election manipulation. I know that the mainstream media is trying their best to convince the country there's just no evidence of voter fraud, but I think people with a brain and people that see this from inside out, they believe that that's just not true. Tell us what you know.
Okay, I came on to tell you three things. First, who am I? I normally wouldn't beat my chest about this. I'm a guy who built a $2 billion e-commerce company. I was named National Entrepreneur of the Year. I'm a PhD from Stanford. I have something called a Marshall Scholar. I know what I'm talking about a lot more than any of these government lawyers with some initials by their name. I know a lot more about this. And just believe an e-commerce entrepreneur who built a $2 billion company, or believe one of those guys. This election was rigged, and I'm saying this not as a Trump supporter. I'm not a never Trumper, but I'm a small L libertarian. I've never voted for a Republican or a Democrat for president in my life. I'm coming at this purely from, I'm a fanatic about the Constitution. My PhD is the intellectual history of the U.S. Constitution. So I'm coming at this just purely from what's true, not I'm a rabid Trump guy. This election was rigged. It was rigged in a way that people don't understand and is quite a bit deeper than the kind of rigging we're used to hearing about, ballot stuffing. And so this case is not about what you've been hearing, that it's about 243 dead people in Philadelphia voted, or that's all small ball. What happened here is in the hundreds of thousands of votes in certain states. It also was not widespread fraud. Don't puke. The Democrats are right about something. It isn't that this is widespread, and they're correct. It was very strategic, it was very narrow and deep in certain places. What they figured out as a strategy is there were basically 5 cities. You don't have to commit widespread fraud. They picked 5 cities that they could commit crazy fraud in some new ways, crazy deep fraud, and by cheating those 5 counties, frankly, you flip 5 key states, you flip the Electoral College. So it was very well thought out, and we've been studying all the numbers. It's clear that in the cities they did that, but in the countryside where they knew there was more Trump support, they sapped votes from Trump, but still let him win in sort of rural counties. Otherwise, it would catch too much attention. We've been pouring through the data for 2 weeks now. I know, like I say, I live data. I'm a guy who built a $2 billion company. This is what I did for 20 years. It was a very sophisticated strategy. Now, how did they cheat the election in 5? They rigged the election in 5 counties. How did they do that? Believe it or not, and I'm going to have to go back. Well, why don't I start this way? I start this part of the explanation as follows. In 2018 in Dallas, Texas, there was an election with some irregularities. The state government of Texas hired some local cybersecurity experts, and they're very good with military intelligence and federal law enforcement kinds of backgrounds, in a very high-end cybersecurity group to study the 2018 Dallas election. They studied these irregularities. So, and it had been run by Dominion Election Systems. They've had 2 years to study and unwind what the rest of America has had 2 weeks to try to figure out. Over those 2 years, they figured out 10 ways. There are at least 10 ways to hack an election which uses this Dominion equipment. 10. Now, we can go into the technical stuff if you want, but I'll put it this way. As a guy who built, I know I sound like a jerk pounding my chest about it, but all I can say is I built a $2 billion e-commerce company that never got hacked. I know what I'm talking about. The election systems that govern elections in America are a joke. on a scale of 1 to 10 to hack, there may be a 2. There are 2 at best, maybe a 1. It's easier to hack this and far easier to hack this than it would be your PayPal or Venmo account. Now, so there are 10 different ways to hack it. They picked, and they went narrow and deep in these very strategic way at these 5 counties, flipped the states. So we're talking about, places where Trump lost by 10,000. There may be 300,000 fake illegal votes for Biden. So it isn't even close. This isn't even close. What they did was, it's being called drop and roll, an election fraud technique where at a certain moment in time, you figure out, anyway, so I'll stop there. That was the big picture. Dive down on what you'd like, Mr. McDonald.
No, you're fine. You keep talking. I've got a few questions. You finish what you got to say, and then I'll ask you a question.
That's it. I'll let you question where you want to
5 cities. What were the 5 cities, Patrick?
5 cities were Atlanta, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Detroit, and Maricopa County, Phoenix, Maricopa, Arizona, which is Phoenix. Note that the first 4 cities are heavily African American.
That's
and
right.
Maricopa's,
that's right.
What they did, the beauty of this, and if you don't mind, so I'm not a Republican, but I'm definitely not a Democrat. And I think the Democrats have a long history of using black people in various pernicious ways. And cheating, I think that they are, so they did this in part. The beauty of using those 4 cities is when they cheat there, then as it starts to get revealed, they can say, oh, you don't like black people, you're trying to suppress this vote. It has nothing to do with that. They're hiding behind the black people, as they always do. They're using the black community, as they have done in so many ways for so many decades. That's one of the reasons it's so smart to have cheated in those 4 cities. Black people aren't the ones who cheated. The black folks aren't the ones who cheated. It's right. the people running the equipment.
Exactly. Well, you basically named the 6 states or the 5 states that basically hold the key to this election: Wisconsin, Michigan,
Nevada. If there's a 6, it would be Nevada. Clark County, Nevada.
Yeah.
But the technique was a bit different there. This is really the elite class has always hid behind black people, and they don't care about them, but they've used them, and they've done it again this way. Yeah. And in Phoenix, it was with Hispanics.
Explain the drop and roll technique, because I've never heard that till tonight. Tell us a little bit about that. How do they drop and roll?
At a certain point in the election counting, they basically freeze and they see how much their candidate is behind.
Gotcha.
And then they drop. They shut the voting down. They drop a big stack of ballots to get their man up over the guy who's actually winning. And then from then on, they just set, and whatever new batch comes in is prefigured. There's some examples where 53 batches in a row, and this is all revealed in data and charts that will be becoming public tomorrow, that these big voter drops that have Biden catch up and surpass Trump. And then from then on, sort of fixed, they just roll the difference forward. 53 batches in a row come in, and every batch measures exactly 51.2% for Biden and 48.8% for Trump. And they roll that difference forward until it's over. So drop and roll. That's what they did here, but it was done both in a combination of actual physical ballots and with chicanery within the software.
Hey, are you aware, and we got people on the show coming up this week that basically Rudy came out this weekend, Sidney Powell came out Friday and said, look, we got proof, we got affidavits, we got sworn testimony that people have seen what you've described. Are you confident that this is going to get to the courts in time to get this stopped? Because you said something to me before the show. You feel like there's a way we can fight this out here in the public too.
Oh yeah, this isn't even close. Yes, I'm aware of all those a lot of whistleblowers and data has been coming to me, and I've been feeding it towards them. I'm not part of them in any way, but I have a way to pipe it to them, and they've been responding. Yeah, this absolutely needs to be fought out in the courts. Any election official in the country, given what has come out and given graphs I'll be putting up tonight or tomorrow morning, anyone who signs a certification has personal legal liability. You have, especially in any of those states, it's nuts. If anyone signs anything to certify, they have no understanding of how this was done. It was much, much deeper than ways in the past. And by the way, one thing I want to mention, at the heart of all this, I post things on deepcapture.com. At the heart of all this is software that was developed in Venezuela by Hugo Chavez for him to rig his elections.
Man.
It's called Smartmatic. That software from 97 came into Florida in about 2002. And then from a series of corporate mergers and acquisitions, it has emerged as the core of two of the brands of election machinery out there, one of them being Dominion. And the guts of it includes all this functionality and software that was actually from Venezuela to help a dictator rig his elections. That's how crazy this is.
Do you think the Democrats were planning this in 2016? This has to be something they've been planning a while, Patrick. This is not something that just showed up overnight.
I don't want to get too far in front of my data, but it may turn out this happened in 2012 and cheated Mitt Romney. In 2016, it was supposed to happen. It got shut down. I know who shut it down. Somebody blocked it. So Hillary, the reason, but I know what it was supposed to happen in 2016 and it got cut off. So that's why Hillary lost. But that's why Hillary didn't feel she had a big need to campaign just like Joe Biden.
Exactly.
Because they both had been told it was rigged. And this isn't, I know exactly who shut it down in 2016. Wow. It didn't get shut down this time.
2018 stolen, the midterms from the Republicans in the House?
What's going on, and this is below the big headlines, we have clear evidence that they are targeting certain congressmen and flipping seats. Not in Texas, they couldn't have flipped Texas, but there were some certain areas in Texas, they cheated like hell. There are congressmen who are being flipped. By the way, there are Republicans in on this. I believe you're going to find two senior Republican officials at the state level in two different states took efforts to get this Dominion software accepted. In one case, on $100 million contract was paid. And the Republican who did that, I think it's going to turn out that they got election insurance, which means they were told, if you help this Dominion stuff get in there, we'll fix it so you never get out of office. There may have been gifts given to family members and such, but every state's who uses Dominion, and there's 29 of them, should be investigating who was it that chose to bring this software in, because even the most cursory due diligence would show we should not be running elections on it. I have to get up and can you stand by just a moment?
Sure.
I think that I should wrap up in the next minute.
I was going to give you go ahead and let you go. We've got Patrick for a limited time. Please promise me you'll come back. We'll pick this up. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Sidney Powell has a website, defendtherepublic.com, defendtherepublic.org. She needs some money to conduct. I've put in a lot of money myself, but people need. If you want to do something, also, if you're in any of those 5 states, call your state legislatures and send this video. They should know. Anyone who signs these cert forms now should go to jail.
Come on,
they have
Patrick.
no business certifying till they hear the facts.
I'll be talking to you in a few days, my friend. Thank you for tonight, Patrick. We're really honored to have you. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.